Good morning, guys. My office is absolutely freezing, but it is not sure what time yet. My computer's just turning on. So I can't even put it into words how happy I am to be up early again. This feels like proper. Putting in earplugs. One thing I learned about earplugs is you should squish them before you put them in. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's been working for me. So I squish them flat before I put them in my ear. So the time's 5:40. So not even crazy early. Didn't get up at 4, got up at 5, but that's okay. Let's put this away. Alright, time to do the focus stack. So we're gonna take a ration of this. I'm gonna leave that there. And then we got a NeuroGum, not affiliated with them in any way. I just have been using their product and I really like it. That there, okay. Now let's put these back. And then we've got coffee reheated from yesterday, tea, NeuroGum, and then nicotine gum. So that is what we've got. I read the first few pages of Propaganda by Edward L. Bernays, and that one's gonna be a heater. Like, it's really good. So very excited there. Got the YouTube laptop. Put that there, right there, and all right, it's time to get to work. So lights out. Habits are looking super good for this month. You can see we are all green on everything, really. The only thing that I want to improve on is the wake up times, which now is happening. But yeah, it's ready to get to the day. Show you guys the task list. It's literally just editing all the chapters remaining on the video. So I'm gonna get this set up here, start to enjoy some of the stimulants, and yeah, let's get moving on this. Okay, so I'm in the middle of working and put my mic to this. You can maybe hear like a buzzing noise. My computer literally just blew up. Like, check the temperature. It's cool. Fans aren't going crazy, but it just blows up. Like, what? Hopefully my Premiere autosave got me right, but holy crap, and it's also on me. Like, I've not done the storage precautions for editing a video as big as I am. I probably need like minimum 2 terabytes, and I only think I've allocated 1.5 on the D disk, which is a scratch disk, which is not good for load speeds and probably is the result of why that just happened. However, that's crazy. Like, okay, I get lag, but you're telling me we're at the point now where it's shutting off. I have my business channel video on this guy right here, and this thing is, I forget how full it is. I think it's around 300, and I also edit the vlogs usually off of this guy. So I don't want to have to, like I obviously could set up the whole thing and it wouldn't be an issue, but I was really trying to avoid having to play file transfer, because that's a surefire way to make one minor mistake and then delete something that's not been backed up and screw the whole project, which I don't want to risk. So I'm gonna hope that maybe that was just like a one-off, like the fan blew at the wrong time on the computer, and yeah, hopefully. Okay, it seems like I only lost like 20 minutes of work, so, you know, not ideal, but you can't complain. Time to get back to it. Update, guys, I'm getting screwed by my play thing. Like it's not playing. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Oh, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's annoying. I'm putting in pain today, but trying to nerf me. Gotta figure out how to work around this. Get it all figured out. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Just like, I don't know, do I need to restart? Maybe I'll try restarting my computer. Save project, close it down, restart my computer. I have like 50 gigs free on each of my drives, which is like not good. That's not good at all, but you're gonna need to find some kind of storage solution. I might have to do something that's pretty sketch, which is, where's my SSD? I can take, so I wish I had a diagram for this, but I can store a percentage of the B-roll files on this, which means the video won't play unless this is plugged in, even though majority of the files are actually just on the computer. So it makes it kind of sketchy, because then the backup files are going to be on the computer for a half drive that's on this, and it just gets to not be like a plug and play thing. But you know, we're on the tail end of at least new footage being added. Like, I'll still have to go back and do the animations, which I'm sure will be its own unique pain in the ass. However, that is gonna be nowhere near just like the amount of pure ball knowledge it's taken to get all the B-roll put out and whatnot. And that's something that, like I mentioned for this next video, which at this point my only goal is to get this video out in November, and then the video after that in December for the new year. So I have 2 videos that go up before the end of the year on the main channel, and also the business videos for those 2. That's really my only goal for 2026. Or sorry, for 2025 and 2025. But beyond that, I mean, it's gonna be so much easier on the next video, because as I'm writing the script, I'm gonna be actually cutting out the B-roll and putting it in the timeline, and it will just be so much easier. Like I almost forgot that it was gonna be easier as I did this whole B-roll process. Yeah, I forgot that, oh, I have a solution to make this far less complex. So that's really nice, but it's to the point where I'm so deep into this project, you just have to start like MacGyvering stuff, even though you know it's not how you should be doing it. My file management's the perfect example of that. Like, I know I shouldn't be setting it up the way I have, and I should be doing the backup drives and all this stuff. I just want to get this video live. I'm gonna put everything on my Google Drive, and I'm gonna delete every single file off this computer. And then that will allow me to kind of get a clean slate as I move on to the next video. and do a much better job because I've learned file management as I've been doing this video. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think I'll tell you guys how much I have on my drive. And it's so interesting. I never understood the problem of storage, you know, until I got into making bigger videos. Right now I have 2 terabytes on my Google Drive that I can probably fill up there. That's on my thing account, and then on my personal account I only have 15 gigs, so that's not going to be a solution. But 2 terabytes. Let me see what the upgrade on the storage looks like. How do you buy more storage? Come on. And this is what I look into on a daily basis. It's like such weird and unique problems. Maybe not to somebody who's been in the video business, but for me, having never done this before, quite interesting. And I completely forgot to explain it. There's a reason why I'm wearing this hat again. I'll talk about it in a second. All right, guys, so it's about 5 p.m. I've got a lot to talk about, which is really good. So, first things first, when it comes to work progress for today, pretty good. I'm implementing a lot of storage solutions so my videos load in the future, but my goal for this video, maybe I mentioned this earlier, I don't really remember, but I said I want it to be out on the 25th, and I think by the 25th I want it to be done. I want it to be uploaded by the 26th or the 27th. And I think that's highly, highly doable. Now, the next thing is, how do I go ahead and plan my workload around that? The biggest bottleneck that I have right now on my videos is just the storage. Like, if we removed PC problems from the equation, I'm probably looking at like another 50 hours of work until this video is done. It's just like, maybe you can see it in the time lapses today, but like, I incurred probably about 2 to 3 hours of delays today just off of like waiting for shit. Which I've never dealt with a problem like this in video or making video, even like business. Like maybe waiting on people, but like never like physically waiting on like things to process. It's very new to me. Actually, no, yeah, I guess like people with like support tickets with like Meta and shit, maybe I can compare, but nothing actually that like visceral. Next thing, I had a call, the random guy that scheduled on my calendar, and I didn't like, it wasn't a sales call or anything, but I got to impart a lot of what I've learned in the last little while when it comes to selling stuff on YouTube to him, which I'm really glad to do, because I think if he implements what we talked about, he'll find himself in like a much more favorable position than he is right now. And I can talk more about like the exacts of it another day, and I'll share the lesson indirectly because I think it's right. And you guys will never know. I'm not going to bring it like back to this. I'll just like, if you know, you know. We'll leave it there. But great guy. Was glad to just do that. That took about an hour and 15 minutes. Because I don't talk to people, when I do, I tend to just like give them the farm. Anyways, that was good. Talked to my dad, had a really good conversation earlier in the day. Then I just talked to one of my friends, Lowen, had a really good conversation with him. And it made me kind of but kind of clarify exactly how I'm defining my success and everything that I'm doing right now, and put it into like a very pragmatic kind of implementation instead of an esoteric one. So that was great. Biggest lessons, learnings, takeaways. Trying to think. storage, dude, like organization when producing videos like this is something that I actually can't even, like the amount of infrastructure that I have unknowingly built and learned how to build for production of video on this project. Like I see why so much of this stuff is gate kept by big creators and everything, because it's genuinely a moat in and of itself, and nobody cares to even explain it because most people don't even know it exists. Like I always used to look at like Iman, he's like, oh, we shoot our courses on 8K camera, and I was like, all right, cool, bro, like nice. I shoot on 3 4K cameras and an additional audio source, so I have the same, if not, no, I have roughly the same level of infrastructure gear complexity as a guy like Iman in Production Studio, which I couldn't say before, but actually I don't even know about saying that now. He probably has like a bunch of wizard shit that I don't know about still, but I have a comparable one where like I understand editing like my default timeline is 4 clips stacked on top of each other, and I have to color grade the footage because I shoot and log and like all that stuff. So it probably sounds like a different language what I'm saying to you right now, because you really don't know this stuff until you start doing it. And it's such a moat, again, which is a great thing, that if a competitor were to try and create a video and say, by the way, this tree's looking increasingly more beautiful. It's kind of blossoming to this like very nice pink color. It's not like a cherry blossom tree. It's like I like it more than the cherry blossom tree because it's got a nice greenness to it. Like I really love this tree. Let's take a second to appreciate them. But I have to climb this tree actually one day. But he really, like, he says this stuff, and I never understood it until, again, having been in this situation where I'm making these videos myself now. And then, yeah, just, I think there's an additional layer of post-production edit quality, where there's like a guy who talks about being Iman's lead editor. He just uses like After Effects, and he's like extremely talented at what he does, but it is simple After Effects. When it comes to like the film cinematography stuff he does, I'm nowhere near that level on that domain yet. That's the other Alex. He's a G at that, so I can't touch that. But I have this like B-roll style where I'm making videos on other people that I think is like a genuine moat of the way my process looks. I think even if I explained it to somebody, they wouldn't get it, because there's like so many 1.1 percentile things that I've picked up in this, and I just continue to pick up every day, that again becomes such a moat, and places where there'd usually be a disconnect because they're outsourcing stuff that I now understand because I took it upon myself to learn everything. So it really is amazing, the progress that's being made. And I know you guys for the last almost 40 something days have been listening to me say this and maybe seen 30 seconds in total worth of footage from the video. I promise you, when it comes out, regardless of the views that it's going to get, you'll be able to hand over heart, like watch all the videos in my discography and say this was the best produced one, best quality one, best performing one, I don't know, but best production quality, 1,000,000%. And I know Rob's a smaller creator relative to the other guys I've covered, so that's only expected. If it does end up performing worse, I believe I can beat it though. So that's kind of the update there. The next thing I want to talk about, which is highly relevant, is self-talk. And I'm about to go for a run, so I'm going to give a quick riff on it because I want to get out so I can get to bed and whatnot in time.
Self-talk is something that I I've I explained it to my friend really well. I've always had an extremely positive outlook. You could ask me, hey, do you think you're going to be successful? Do you think you're going to be wealthy? And I could have told you when I was 9 years old I was going to be wealthy. Uninformed optimism, by the way. But there was always that positivity. And I've always had that positivity about me, and just like super grateful to my parents, because at that point that's out of my control. That's a kind of external happenstance thing. But beyond that, what I realized is I'm very good at future pacing my results. So I can tell myself with 100% confidence, oh, I'm going to be successful. But the important part about that is I'm going to be. And I've been doing a lot of study. What kind of prompted me to look into it a lot more today, even though I visited this concept dozens of times in the past, is tomorrow evening Islam Makhachev is fighting, and he's a UFC fighter. He's from the Khabib camp, the Russia Dagestan guys, and I just did some more research into them because they have achieved amazing things in that sport with relatively no external connection or help. And I end up watching these old clips of Khabib, and he's like beating the crap out of a guy, and he's telling him, like, as he's hitting him on the floor, he's like, I need this title, I deserve it, brother. And I thought to, like, okay, when I did boxing, it's like Floyd Mayweather, he's like running, saying hard work, dedication. Then you look at like John Jones, another UFC fighter, same thing. Conor McGregor, same thing. And in I don't want to give you like the whole riff, but in the sport of combat, it's such like a it's such a clear, I don't want to say visceral again, but it's like a visceral actualization of, oh, I am like destroying my competitors. And while I believe in like operating on a creative plane of thought and not like, hey, I'm going to destroy competition, etc., these guys fundamentally have to think they're the best, which i.e. is better than others, in order to get where they want to go, which is beating up other people. So where that takes me is these guys are constantly telling themselves, I'm the champ, I'm the title. And I think, as for my own personal reflection, I'll be quick with this. I had multiple points on my goals for 2026 that I've shown you guys. I'm dropping it down to just one, which is 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2026. Right? It's the one thing that if I achieve, all other things fall into line. It's like the same way that a UFC fighter says they want the title. It's because they associate that title and the trickle down with all the other things that they actually want. So that's the headspace I'm in when it comes to that. And the self-talk is that when you see yourself in the present tense as that person, like, oh, I am $100,000 or I am a 100K subscriber YouTuber, you can begin to act in accordance to that. It's like, I hold this camera like 100,000 subscriber YouTuber. I touch this bulb here, 100,000 subscriber YouTuber. And you can hold that frame in the present, which is something that I have not done a good job of in the past. Now I'm doing a great job of that. And if you see what I just did there, I am going to operate from that lens. And now that I have the principle, the next thing when I learn something, so it's principle and actionable. I think this could be taken out of like context to extremes. I think most mental frames and lessons worth learning are worth reminding yourself of every day. Now there's stuff that isn't, and for example, imagining bad case scenarios is probably only good to do once. But when you think about something, especially like your goal, you need to find a way to have it come into your day-to-day every single day. So I'm going to be finding some actionables of how I can do it, and I'll be sharing that with you guys. But I'm super excited, feeling really good, making great progress on this video, and living the dream overall. So this is my Friday night. I'm gonna go for my run, and I hope whoever you are watching this right now, you're having a great day. All right, finished my run. Blue light blockers on. Have to shower and whatnot before I head to bed. But something I want to start saying more in these videos, and I will start saying more, is that I have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and you'll see it in 2026. And repeating that to myself and doing it more often is a very tangible way of implementing what I talked about in the last clip. Now, I could give you a very long reasoning as to why, and all of the deduction and other reasons I haven't done this in the past, and the whole history and all the books I've read on this to come to this conclusion. But the specific way that I'm doing it, which I'll explain as I put it into action more and clarify it for a longer period of time. But yeah, a big part of it comes down to holding it top of mind and finding ways to do that. So that being said, I'm going to shower, wind down, and maybe touch up a little bit of editing. I don't know if you can see my computer all the way down there, but I'm going to be doing that, and that's kind of where I'm going to end it, call it for the day. So yeah, great day, very transformative, big lessons today. I'd give myself 6.5, 7 out of 10 editing progress. I was focused, I just ran into so many software issues, or I guess, yeah, software issues that led to hardware issues, i.e. like me not having storage, and then as a result, like, I've never had this before, but my PC, the audio on the computer completely corrupted, just started like blaring like a distorted tone, and then just immediately said like shutting off, system overload, or something. Like some shit I'd only thought like you'd see in a movie on a computer like actually happened today. So that was interesting. It was like almost like the red ring of death, if you're old enough to get that. I'm barely old enough. That's like Xbox 360 turning off. But yeah, that is skew of the day. Gonna attack tomorrow. And like I said, my goal is to have the entire video plotted and planned by Monday, Sunday night. And then on Monday, I dive head on into the effects of everything and how that whole thing's gonna play out. So very happy, and I'll see you boys tomorrow.